All right, let's talk Texas Longhorns. Obviously, heading into the biggest game of the year, in my opinion, because it's great to see Texas and A&M going at it again. One of those awesome old school rivalries. Obviously, huge for Texas as they look to head towards the SEC championship game and the college football playoff. But lost in the hustle and bustle of this is Texas poised to make a massive recruiting flip. On top of that, great news out of Austin. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, the Longhorns are obviously going for it all this season. We all know it. They're clearly, if not the best team in college football, they're certainly in the top five. I know the Oregons of the world, the Ohio States of the world, they've got a really good claim to that rank as well. But let's be honest, Texas has battled through some adversity, and they've set themselves out at least the best team in the SEC as it currently sits. And if you're the best in the SEC, you're probably the best in the country. Let's be totally honest. But again, heading into this big time rivalry matchup this upcoming weekend, the Longhorns are poised to make a massive recruiting flip against another hated rival. They got a chance to pull off a two-for victory. Let's pull up this report courtesy of Athlon Sports. Michael Fasusi verbally committed to Oklahoma in August and has held his pledge to this day. However, Texas and Texas A&M have continued pushing hard for the Louisville product and have seemed to make a decent amount of headway over the last few weeks. The Longhorns hosted Fasusi for the game against Kentucky last week, and the Aggies will host Fasusi for the Texas A&M game on November 30th. That marks back-to-back weeks that Fasusi will be in attendance for a Longhorns game. If Steve Sarkisian's squad delivers another impressive showing, Texas could certainly emerge as a legitimate player in his recruitment. On three's Chad Simmons reported that Fasusi's visit to Texas last week went well. The way the offensive line has developed under Coach Flood impresses me, Fasusi told On Three. All right, this is an awesome opportunity for Texas, and you better believe they've been setting this up for a very long time. I think they're going to get it done. I think they're going to pull off this massive flip. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Texas fans in the comment section below. Here we go, right? Good rivalry. I love growing up watching this one. It was a great Big 12 matchup. Texas was usually the big brother. A&M was the little brother, but you never know what would happen. These games got kind of wild. Give us your prediction. Texas, A&M, final score. Put it in the comment section below. But Miles, I will throw it over to you now. What are your thoughts on everything Texas Longhorns, especially the potential of this recruiting flip here?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going into this potential move for Texas. First of all, you get back-to-back weeks with a kid. He's going to be on the other side of the stands on the Texas A&M side. If you're able to defeat them in this game, I think that's going to go a really long way of securing that flip, because if you beat them, it is also like beating Oklahoma again in securing the flip. So that is another major win for the Texas Longhorns. So like you said, biggest game of the year, just, spiritually, numbers wise, rankings wise, but also for the future of this program. Texas has a lot riding on this game versus Texas A&M, but I think there's a little bit more to this potential flip than just that. You mentioned Kyle Flood being such a great developer of offensive line talent. That's something he's really, really known for, and that's something that Fasusi has talked about, said that's where he wants to go. He wants to go to a team that helps develop guys very well. And for having a guy that's been on this roster since 2021, talking about Coach Flood being here for a very long time as Texas offensive line coach, we're able to see how he's able to develop a lot of these players and get them to the next level. I think this really helps put Texas in a better light as one of those teams that can help and develop players to that top tier ability. But I just think this feels special for Texas. I think this is the type of game where you win this one, and it feels like this is a team destined to go on to win a national championship title. It's a big game. It's a high-ranking matchup, but there's a lot of pressure on this one, and this is that moment where you get to figure out for Texas, does pressure break you down? Can you not handle it? Or does pressure create diamonds? Can you go on to be that high-caliber team that everybody knows that you can be? I think this is going to be a huge one this weekend, and I'm really excited to watch how it unfolds.
Yeah, so all season long, the big criticism of Texas, and sometimes not incorrectly, is their schedule hasn't been as hard as some other opponents, right? And look, I get it. You can't decide who you play. Texas actually scheduled a quality out of conference opponent in Michigan a number of years ago. Just so happened they caught Michigan in a down year. For the most part, they've been playing at a very high level. We all know the Georgia game was really a disappointment. But outside of that, they've been playing really, really good football basically from day one. And they've had a rash of injuries and a lot of volatility, right? This is not a program that just September 1st got out there and then suddenly everything went perfect, no injuries, healthy, and they just rolled through a regular season. They played their schedule, a tough schedule at times with a lot of injuries, a lot of volatility, a lot of up and downs, right? A lot of good teams became bad, a lot of bad teams became good. Look at Vanderbilt, for example. So again, this is an opportunity for Texas to put an exclamation mark on the regular season and send a powerful message. I think they go out here and I think they dominate Texas A&M. And if you look at the odds makers right now, they actually show that they think Texas is heading toward a massive victory. So the game obviously is at Kyle Field in College Station. Despite that, the Longhorns are 5.5-point favorites. Now, some of you college football fans out there may look at that number and say, that doesn't seem so big, 5.5 points. The SEC is essentially like the NFL game. We all understand that. In the NFL, most spreads, if you're a heavy favorite at home, you'll be like 9 or 10. Like that's if you're a huge favorite. And the home team always gets 3 points favored. Just throw it on them at least. If it's a good home field advantage, it could be as much as 4 or 5 points. And Kyle Field Aggies have a really good home field advantage. So what does this mean? It means the odds makers, when they say Texas is a 5.5-point favorite, they mean that they expect the Longhorns to be 9 or 10 points better than Texas A&M, which to me is an indicator that the Longhorns, based on the smart money of the odds makers, are about to dominate the Aggies. And this sets forth a lot of things in motion, multiple recruiting flips, building off of this momentum heading into the playoff and, of course, the SEC championship game. I think the Longhorns obliterate Texas A&M. I'm actually a fan of what Elko's doing in College Station, but I think it's a year or two early for them. I think Texas sends a powerful message. I think they win big, and then they pull off this recruiting flip to boot. I think this is just going to be a great weekend for the Longhorns, and you guys should be really excited for it. I think this is the big statement we've all been waiting to hear from the Longhorns this season.